Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a very bullish day here in the markets. The Nasdaq is up almost 2%, Russell up 1%, S&P up 1.5%, and the Dow up about 1.5% as well. Now, we're going to get into everything that is happening here on the day, but most importantly, what is happening with AMC Stock and what is going to happen next with AMC Stock. On top of that, we are going to get into the economic data that is going to be coming out in the markets tomorrow that could continue to shake things up. So, if that sounds interesting to you, get ready, buckle in, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, source your comments, questions, or concerns down below in the comments section. So first things first, what is causing this today? You did have the Senate hearing on kind of the same thing that we've been getting. Fed Michael Barr was supposed to be directly overseeing these banks and the risk that was associated with them. Mainly he testified today, and a lot of the same old that the banks are sound and resilient. This actually reminds me of the Bear Stearns moment, where Bear Stearns collapsed in March of 2007. Lehman Brothers didn't happen until September 15th of 2007. And in between March and September of that year, markets were like, okay, everything's fine. This is contained. It's not going to be a big deal. The banking system is sound and resilient. Literally the same words that we're hearing today. And then what happened? 6 months later, all hell broke loose. Kind of what it feels like is happening here. Hopefully it's not to the same extent of that. But, I mean, these banks and their balance sheets, they're all kind of the same. If in reality, due to Dodd-Frank and the regulations that we have seen, banks kind of have to structure their portfolios the same. So pretty interesting. We'll talk about that here probably over this weekend, get into the similarities of what's happening now to 2007 and 2008 and really where this market is going to go. But the fact that this situation is not getting worse with the banks is definitely a positive thing. On top of that, you had great earnings out of Lululemon, terrible earnings out of Micron, but people are starting to say, is this the worst it's going to get for Micron? Is it only up from here? In other words, is it the trough and we can start to recover? That's why you're getting a lot of semiconductor stocks that are moving higher today. Intel is up 8%. When does that ever make sense for Intel to be up 8%? Biggest monthly gain in 22 years? That's insane. So you're getting the semiconductors really outperforming here. And this is definitely feeding into the rest of the market. Technology is paving the way to go higher. And most of it, I would say, is just a lack of news. Now, tomorrow is when you're going to get some more news. So for Thursday, that is going to be tomorrow, you are going to get Germany's inflation rate. That's going to be at 8 o'clock in the morning. That will probably give the futures its first move. But it's not going to be the thing that really drives this market. Now, the corporate profits quarter over quarter for Q4, last reading we got was 0.8%. You're expecting 0.6%. But more importantly, the GDP price index quarter over quarter, you're expecting a 3.9% reading. The last reading we got was 4.4%. So you're expecting GDP pretty much across the board to get revised down. You're also expecting PCE prices quarter over quarter, final data for Q4, to get revised from 4.3% to 3.7%. So the final revisions for Q4 are coming out tomorrow on real consumer spending, core PCE as well as regular PCE, GDP, and there's a lot of metrics for GDP, but all the metrics, and then for corporate profit. So that is going to be a big story coming tomorrow because these revisions can move quite a bit, as we have seen in 2022 and 2023 so far. So that's going to be big, as well as that initial jobless claims do come out tomorrow at 8:30 as well, and all of this United States data will come out at 8:30 in the morning. Initial jobless claims, you're expecting 193,000. Last month's reading was 191,000. thousand. So that's going to dominate the headlines as far as tomorrow in the morning once you wake up, once markets start to trade. And then you're going to have Fed Barkin that speaks at 12:45. And these Fed members from here on out can be pretty important. We got word today that actually caused the markets to fall quite a bit that Fed Jerome Powell is going to do one more rate hike and then be done pretty much. So that will be important, all of that coming tomorrow. But on Friday, don't fool yourself. Forget tomorrow if you want to boil it down to any day for this week. Friday was always going to be the big day. 8:30 in the morning, personal spending month over month for February. You are expecting that to come in at 0.5%. Last month's reading in January was 1.8%. Core PCE, you're expecting that to come in at 0.6%. Last month's reading in January was also 0.6%. So you're expecting inflation to remain very much elevated. Personal income, month over month, you're expecting that to drop to 0.4% from a previous 0.6% reading. And then you got PC price index, month over month and year over year as well. So you are expecting to get personal spending going down, personal income going down, and inflation to remain the same. And that same, right, is very elevated. So you're expecting elevated inflation and the consumer not looking so good. And that will be on Friday. And that is what will really give us a big move here in the markets. And I do imagine that's going to affect everything. I imagine it would affect AMC. Kind of hard to tell, though, all things considered. And geez, look at that dump in the last couple minutes here. 10-minute rigged coming in high. And if you guys don't know what that is basically the 10-minute rug pull, where the last 10 minutes of the day, literally at 3:50 p.m. or if you're on Pacific time, when that would be 12:50, you get literally an either huge rally or a rug pull the last 10 minutes based off of those end of the day orders. The whole system is quite honestly rigged here. Now, with AMC stock, if we go ahead and pull this up, you are down about 2.91%. Not a bad day relative to what could have happened. We have not gotten any new updates out of this Amazon proposed takeover of AMC, and I think that is the thing that investors are really waiting for. Shorts are really getting jumpy here. They're really not liking what happened yesterday. And we can see the algorithms batted down AMC at the 50-day moving average at $5.47 per share. And I believe we hit $5.48 per share. If we go ahead and zoom in, we can see exactly $5.50 per share. So a little bit higher than that 50-day moving average. Got rejected. Now you're really going to be in purgatory in between 450 and 550. This dollar is going to be the range until we get new news. Now, if you guys seen the last video that I put out earlier today, just about an hour and a half ago, some people are starting to talk about another major short squeeze that could be on the way for AMC. And I think that is very important to point out, because through all of the cloudiness, through everything that's been happening, you cannot lose sight of what is actually happening, what the cost of borrow rates are doing, what the short interest is doing, what the hedge funds are doing as far as how they are protecting their losses here. They've lost collectively about $235 million since the start of 2023, even at these levels. So any, couple cents higher, couple dollars higher puts a lot of pressure on them when they are over leveraged in those short positions. So I do think any economic data, any news on AMC that can give you a bullish reaction and specifically be pertaining to AMC, going to be very, very volatile and super important for the name. Now, that is basically all you have there as far as what the Fed is currently, or the markets are currently pricing in for the Fed. You do expect, with a 61.4% probability of a pause coming May 3rd. So if you get Fed speakers tomorrow and on Friday, the couple that we do have, Fed Barkin for sure tomorrow, if they start to say, we need more rate hikes here. We still don't know what the effects of the banking crisis is going to do. We're definitely not going to be cutting rates here like the markets expect four rate cuts by the end of 2023. If you get language like that, that's going to be very bad for equity markets, and watch out below. You did get a report pretty much towards the end of the day today that showed there's not as much banking stress still in the banking system, and that is another thing that really fueled some of this rally. Now, let's briefly get into AMC's Ortex data, then we will wrap up the day, because today really was a slow day. Tomorrow is going to be a much bigger day, and then on Friday is going to be the mother of all days for this week. Now, live short interest on free flow at 25.06%, up 0.12% on the day. 129.4 million shares currently sold short. Ortex is indicating about 160,000 shares were sold short today. I think that's pretty appropriate. I think that makes sense, given the stock is down a little over 2%. Cost to borrow average sitting at 373.75%. Cost to borrow max at 435%. Cost to borrow minimum at about 8%. Last real reading that we got was around 115%, so I think that makes a little bit more sense in the grand scope of where these numbers are actually at. Cost of borrow rates from Interactive Brokers. Keep in mind, Interactive Brokers really caters to your higher end brokers. I doubt really too many of you guys use Interactive Brokers, so makes sense, right? Cost of borrow rates for AMC, the last rating that we are getting here today is 237.97%, with about 300 shares currently available. So a lot of interest to short AMC right here and right now. Also, something I think that is very interesting is you're getting a lot of call activity coming through on AMC here today, something that you have not seen for a long time. Look at some of these options. A March 31st $3 call, a March 31st $4 call, an April 21st 50-cent call, an April 6th $3.50 call, a June 16th $2 call, a May 19th $2 call, a May 19th $2 call again, April 6th $3.50 call, June 16th $2 call, January 17th 2025 $1 call, a January 30 or March 31st $1.50 call, January 17th 2025 $1 call, March 31st $1.50 call, April 6th $3 call. And then you got a put right here, a put right there, and then you get into more calls. Right, June 16th, $13 call, September 15th, $8 call, June 16th, $13 call, September 15th, $8 call, and then a couple more puts here, and then you got a June 16th $15 call. A lot of these calls that are super far out the money, very indicative of maybe they know this Amazon deal is going to play out in AMC's favor here, because it's very far out the money with not a lot of time left. That, or they do expect something bullish to come out of this next court meeting, April 27th, or something along those lines. So I do think the option activity looking more bullish today than not is a sign, and this is something I want to pay attention to over the next couple of days, because after all, guys, you already know how it is. People with big money, they have the information before you do. They react before the markets react. So if you can get an edge on them and see what they're doing behind the scenes with a platform like Ortex or the Bloomberg terminal, if you're rich enough to afford that, well, you got to take advantage of that, and you got to pay attention. So I do think signs are pointing to a rally in AMC stock. I think we pretty much covered all the bases. That's going to do it for this video. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, source your comments, questions, or concerns down below in the comment section. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one.